Hey guys, and welcome back. Today's video is going to be on Syscoin. The community requested to bid on my Twitter poll, which I've been using lately to kind of figure out what coin or what topic I'm going to cover next, and sure enough they won. So today's topic is about Syscoin. I would like to do my usual disclaimer, which is I don't own any Syscoin, and if I'm being frank, I didn't know next to anything about this project before I started doing research on it, but I think it's a pretty cool topic to cover. So Syscoin is a cryptocurrency similar to Bitcoin in the sense it is a decentralized network. However, the difference between Bitcoin and Syscoin would be that Syscoin offers the first decentralized marketplace. This can be compared to something like eBay, only obviously it's built on blockchain technology. It offers near zero transaction fees and as well as very fast transaction times. It also provides businesses with the infrastructure to trade good, assets, and digital certificates. A little background history to the project. So it was created originally by Sebastian Shepis, but then a co-creator named Jagdeep Shidu came on when Syscoin 1.0 was created and sort of started to steer development and take the lead from that point on. Sebastian had left the project temporarily, but he did rejoin in 2017 and he now works in unison with Jag. Syscoin's white paper was drafted in 2014. Yes, 2014. That's a long time even in crypto-adjusted terms. And the first iteration of the project was called Syscoin 1.0, and this was just the decentralized marketplace. The project was originally based off of Litecoin with some additional features that they built into the blockchain. Then in May 2016, Syscoin 2.0 was created. So where Syscoin 1.0 was created off of Litecoin, the second iteration, Syscoin 2.0, was created off of Bitcoin. They also switched mining algorithms because they switched to the Bitcoin blockchain, which means they switched to SHA-256. And that meant that it created a Syscoin that was merge mineable. And I'll get into that in a little bit. In order for Syscoin to add the graphical user interface, or the GUI, and the new functionality to Syscoin 2.0, a fork was required for the coin. A new wallet was released to Syscoin holders. All it required for them to do was switch over to the new wallet, and then the 1.0 blockchain was archived. 2.0 included a working marketplace, a new wallet, and updates to the decentralized marketplace. I want to backtrack quickly and just kind of cover the ICO, even though it was ages ago, and it is going to be a little bit more confusing because the project was forked. I still think it's important to touch on it. I would like to mention that after the fork, a lot of things changed, including even the max circulating supply of Syscoin. So Syscoin 1.0 was 2 billion, but Syscoin 2.0 is 888 million. Development work on the Syscoin ICO was publicly announced in April 2014. And then the actual project went live in August 2014. The ICO raised 1,500 Bitcoin. Of that 1,500, 250 were used for buy support because the ICO was on an exchange. Basically, this just means they used that 250 to keep the price stable during the ICO. The website was called Moolah, and there was a guy who worked on that website, and he ran under the pseudonym or that name, even though it wasn't his real name. Unfortunately, the guy, his name was Ryan Kennedy, he stole 750 remaining Bitcoin from the Syscoin ICO. Syscoin had been in litigation with Ryan Kennedy since October 2014. And just recently, in September 2017, I believe the courts actually ruled in favor of Syscoin, and they're requesting that Ryan Kennedy send back all of the funds. An interesting tidbit, which kind of goes off a point that I just made about, them still following through with litigation, was that they had no funds during the ICO. After that was stolen, that was it. That was all of the funding that they had for the project. But the team continued to develop and continued to work on the project, up until today. And at a certain point, they were not making any money, and it was not a profitable ICO. So I think that's a very important point to mention, is that they could have very easily abandoned the project, and they chose not to. On to technology. So Syscoin uses a proof of work algorithm. And if you're not sure what that means, please go over to my Crypto 101 Proof of Work video, and you can see where I talk about what consensus algorithms are. It has a reported block time of 60 seconds, and the current block reward is 16 Syscoin. Syscoin's blockchain can support about 476 transactions per second. This is expected to increase quite a bit with their new upgrade when they implement masternodes. I mentioned before that Syscoin is merge mineable, and basically what that means is Syscoin can be merged simultaneously with another cryptocurrency, so they're running the same algorithm, and so they can be mined at the same time. Switching to SHA-256 gave Syscoin that ability, and it also gave them a more stable and secure network. Let's talk about the Blockchain Foundry. So Syscoin created the Blockchain Foundry in August of 2016. They created it to help lead the development of merchant-focused platforms that are going to be utilizing the Syscoin blockchain. In December 2017, the Blockchain Foundry announced that it had received $3.3 million in capital that they had raised from investors. The Blockchain Foundry also plans to have an IPO on a major stock exchange in Canada in early 2018. Let's move on to their major features because that's what most of you came here for. So what they're most well known for is their block market, which is their decentralized marketplace. Like I said before, think of eBay, only one of the major differences, they're removing a lot of the middleman, or the need for the middleman, which means they're also removing a lot of the hefty fees. It's eventually going to be able to support imports and plugins, meaning that you can take information or your listings from, say, like Etsy or somewhere else, and you'll be able to import it into the block market. Currently, the only way you can access the marketplace is to download the desktop application. Some of the features include the ability to peg prices to items off of fiat values. They also have the ability to create sales of digital ownership, sales with drop shipping, all while offering provable ownership of the item. The most recent block market update added support for Changelink and Flip, which means they now support 32 other cryptocurrencies as payment. One of those cryptocurrencies is Zcash. So yes, private payments are possible. I do realize how popular that is in the crypto community, so I think it's important to touch on that. The marketplace also supports shipping notifications, which can be utilized through their encrypted messaging system, which is on the block market. Block Market is striving for mass adoption, so listing your products on there and utilizing their platform is 100% free with no fees. Fun story worth noting, there's a car dealership in Vancouver, Canada called Blue Motors, I think, and they're listing luxury vehicles. So yes, Ferrari, BMW, and you guessed it, even Lambos. So you can buy Lamborghinis now with cryptocurrencies. Another important feature that the block market supports is encrypted messaging, which I touched on before, and name aliases. So basically that means the wallet address that you have on the Syscoin block market, you can make an alias for. So, you know, Bob can send Alice, or Bob can do a transaction with Alice on the block market via a username instead of needing to know the wallet address. Aliases also give people the ability to share public information about themselves, maybe in a profile or information they want people to know, and then it also allows them to have private data, which I don't know for certain, but I assume it would be for validating yourself as a person or for validating who you are within the network. Some notable partnerships that I would like to mention. The block market is part of Microsoft's Decentralized Identity Foundation, and Syscoin is a Microsoft Azure development partner. That means through using Syscoin's API, developers can create blockchain-enabled applications using Syscoin's suite of decentralized business services. That brings us to present day, and Syscoin is currently at 57 on CoinMarketCap, and their market cap value is $235 million. Additional things to add to the present day, their team is actually very easy to get a hold of. Someone had reached out to me on Twitter, so I asked for a Slack invite, and boom, I was in there. All the developers were pretty active in there too, and they answered a lot of my questions, which was nice. They also have an active roadmap, very active development team, but I will put all those links and all that information in the description for you as usual. It can be purchased on some of the smaller exchanges that I'd never really heard of much, but as far as bigger ones go, you can purchase on Poloniex or you can purchase it on Bittrex. Upcoming and things to look forward to in the future, this segment's going to be a little long because they have a lot of stuff coming out. First things first, they are going to have assets and token issuance. They're adding token issuance to Syscoin, which is going to allow anybody to create a token like we've seen before or run an ICO on the platform. The next big thing that I think is the most important personally is their block market update. So right now you can only utilize it on a desktop, but soon it's going to be web-based. So you'll be able to go to it from any computer, which to me, as far as adoption goes for the coin, this is going to be huge, and this is very, very important. They're also going to be adding masternodes, which is going to increase the privacy, it's going to speed up the transactions, and it's going to allow for a governance and a voting system. They'll also be able to enable budgeting and a treasury system, which Syscoin has mentioned that they have every intention of doing. Anonymous transactions is something else that's coming up. Basically, they're going to try to do what most other coins do. I think they're going to use the mixing kind of protocol for it. And this is going to give the coin fungibility, meaning that no one Syscoin will be worth more than the other based on what kind of transaction it was used in. They're going to be implementing ZDAG, which is going to be zero confirmation transactions, and it's also going to beef up protection against double spending. They're going to be doing this by implementing a DAG protocol. This term might be familiar to you because this is the protocol that IOTA uses and also what Nano uses. The first ICO and the first airdrop will be taking place on the Syscoin blockchain. Coin Payments Coin, or CPS, has announced that they're going to be doing their ICO starting March 15th, I think. On March 31st, there's a big change happening in the project. Syscoin 3.0 will be coming out, which means that the project is going to be doing another hard fork so that it can start utilizing a model that's similar to Dash. Basically, this is going to allow them to implement the masternodes. Let's move on to some of the pros. Recently, Syscoin had a third-party company come in and test their security, gauge their security, and they actually published the results of that security company's findings online. Again, links in the description, but I think that's really important and very transparent of them. They also mentioned that any of the very minor security issues that they found with Syscoin that they were planning on fixing. Also, the addition of masternodes may incentivize people to hold Syscoin and not trade, so we may see a stabilization in the price. On to the cons. So Syscoin has been around since 2014, which I've touched on quite a bit. And they have a working product, active development team, a pretty large community as far as social media goes. And yet, when they won the poll, I had a lot of people asking in my Discord, what is Syscoin? Who's Syscoin? So I think, to me, this is kind of a double-edged sword. In one light, it could be a pro that not a lot of people have heard about them because it means that there is a lot of room for growth. But in the same light, the fact that the project's been around this long and it hasn't really accumulated a lot of following is kind of worrisome, I guess. Their project is, you want to have liquidity on a market. You want to have people buying and selling things. So having the project be well known enough that people use your platform is important. I'm hoping that with the 3.0 release that they'll get some good publicity and we'll see a little bit more discussion about Syscoin. Another con, I think, would be simply just all of the changes they've undergone. It's also hard to put that in perspective because obviously they've been around a lot longer than a lot of other cryptocurrencies, and I'm sure a lot of the cryptocurrencies that have come out in the last 2 years are going to have to make a ton of changes as well. So it might be unfair to say that they've undergone a lot of changes, but they've evolved in the market, so that's good. But if you're sitting down to learn about them very quickly and you don't have a ton of time, be prepared to not have enough time because there's a ton of information and there's a ton of backstory to the project with all of the forking and the changing and things like that. It definitely requires a lot of focus to sit down and go through everything. I had a minor disagreement with somebody in the Slack because I said that I think that their name is kind of a con. I say that because Syscoin is short for System Coin, which I get, but to me that doesn't scream what it does as a crypto. Their argument was, well, Neo doesn't necessarily say what it does, and Ethereum doesn't necessarily say what it does. And he's not wrong, but Neo and Ethereum have a very large social following. They have a very large footprint in crypto. So even if you don't know a lot about Ethereum and you hear the name, you can learn a lot about it very quickly because there's a ton of information out there. Syscoin, you hear the name, it doesn't really mean anything. And you have to do a lot of work, as I mentioned before, to really get to the nitty-gritty of the base of the project or the history of the project because it's been around for so long. So I guess that's kind of a neutral thing. I just don't know if the name is really intuitive. They do have some major competitors, which would be BitBay and Particle. I actually don't know anything about either of the projects. I didn't really have time to look into them, but I just wanted to mention that there are two projects that are cryptocurrency based that are doing something similar with a decentralized marketplace, so it was worth mentioning. Final thoughts. Project honestly seems like a really good idea. I mean, and they've done a really good job of staying goal-oriented. What I like about the project is unlike with like Icon or Cardano, everybody knows how much I love Cardano, but all of these projects that have these huge, far-reaching goals that are going to require so much manpower and effort, I like that Syscoin chose something and stuck with it. They wanted to do the block marketplace. They're implementing other things into that marketplace to make it better, like the encrypted messaging. You have the shipping stuff. Now they're going to do the website. That's all great because I think they're staying focused to what their true goal is, and they're not trying to do too many things at once. I would like to see some more marketing or publicity or something done to get their name out there and get them a little bit more talked about. But outside of that, I think the project is doing a good job of doing what it set out to do. It has a product and it has a user base. So as far as investment-wise goes, it doesn't seem like that risky of an investment. Again, all investments have inherent risk. I am not a professional. Please don't use the information or the knowledge that I gave you and invest on it. Do not invest more than you are willing to lose, so on and so forth, my usual disclaimer. Not a financial advisor by any means, just a girl in a Bitcoin shirt trying to learn about cryptocurrencies. But on that note, I want to thank you guys again for watching. Pop into my Discord if you want to say hi. We keep accumulating more people. Feel free to go over to my Patreon and subscribe or become a patron if you want to support my channel. And other than that, I will see you guys soon.